The most asked question lately has been, some of you, if you're not from the South, you may not get this. If you're not from Alabama, you may not get this. But here in the South, we have a dehydrator that we've had, goodness, 20 years or better. So if you're new around here, you may not know this, but I would have to do some math. I don't know where this tractor's at, y'all. Oh, there it is. It's 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 3 and 4. We are a homeschool family if you're new. Actually, I'm gonna touch on that a little bit more in just a second. I came out here to sit down and film a Q&A for y'all, answer some questions. But I think I'm gonna have to go ahead and feed the chickens because they see me, the geese see me, and they're like, hey, does that mean food? I'm gonna feed them real quick, and then we'll sit down and I'm gonna answer some of y'all's questions. Alright, I found me a spot over here behind the shed where the lighting is. Alright, we're going to sit here and talk for a little while. I got some questions that I'm going to answer, some of y'all's questions that I'm going to answer today. We have several new people around here, several new friends. Welcome, we are so happy to have you here. And with that comes some questions, and I've been keeping up with those questions as I've seen them here and there in videos over the last couple of months. And then I also put a post up on the community tab here asking if anybody had any questions. I did that a few days ago, and so I'm going to answer those. So if you see me looking at the phone, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at those questions. And then maybe y'all didn't see that and you haven't had the opportunity to ask your question. Feel free to ask down in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer those questions for you. The most asked question lately has been, where do we live? Where are we from? We live in Alabama. We're in North Alabama, Coleman County, just a little general, I guess. And born here, raising our family here. Justin and I both were born here and raised here. And a lot of our family is still here or in the general area. Now, another question that I've actually gotten a pretty good bit is, are we Alabama fans or Auburn fans? And some of you, if you're not from the South, you may not get this. If you're not from Alabama, you may not get this. But here in the South, we are pretty passionate about college football. And if you live in Alabama, it's just kind of assumed that you're either an Alabama fan or you're an Auburn fan. Well, Justin and I, we grew up Alabama fans. And there's a breeze, gonna shake you around a little bit. And then when we got married young. I was 18 and he was 20, and I had just graduated high school and we were going off to college. Well, at the time, Justin wanted to be a vet, and so Auburn was where we decided to go to school. And we went to Auburn and we were there for a little while before we decided to move back home. Justin changed his mind. Oh, well, actually, we both did. We changed our major and what our plans were, and so we moved back home. We did spend a little time in Auburn, and I love Auburn. I love the town. It's such a special place. I love the feel. I love the atmosphere. I loved attending school there. So sometimes, I'll say War Eagle. I'm not afraid to say War. I'm one of those rare few, I guess, that will say Roll Tide and War Eagle. I loved Auburn. I loved the town. I still love going back to visit. But we grew up Alabama fans, and after we moved back home, we kind of jumped back into that. And, our kids love Alabama football. Justin loves Alabama football. I enjoy it. But I may be one of the rare few that say War Eagle and Roll Tide. And Justin may not admit it, but he wore some Auburn apparel while we were there. The picture that I posted in the community tab where I was asking if anyone had any questions, I had on a pair of my overalls. I actually had my green ones that have gardening stuff all over them. And I got several compliments on those overalls and several questions about where I get my overalls, what brand they are. They're Duluth. I've worn these for the last couple of years. If I'm going to be working outside, you can just about bet I'm going to have Duluth overalls on. They're comfortable. I really like these and the material that these are, and I'll link them for you down in the description box. I also have a pair that's shorts, and they're more of a denim material, and I like those, but these are my favorite. And I really like that they have so many pockets, y'all. There's literally pockets inside of pockets. I've had them for years, and every time I put them on, I think I find a new pocket. But they do. They have zipper pockets. They have pin pockets. There's pockets on the sides. There's Velcro pockets and snap pockets. You can also, and I don't ever do this, but you can also roll them up and snap them on the bottom to make them shorter. And I really like that you can get these in different inseams. I'm pretty tall, and so I can actually get these to fit. And they're just super comfortable and super practical. Talking about being tall, that was another question. When I went to South Carolina a couple of months ago, I went to the BJU Press Foundation Summit. We are a homeschool family if you're new. Actually, I'm going to touch on that a little bit more in just a second. But I went out to South Carolina and was able to see where that curriculum is made, and just, it was such a wonderful time. I'll link the video. I did a whole travel vlog. I really enjoyed it. And if you're a homeschool family, I think you'll enjoy it either way. But if you homeschool, I think you'd really enjoy seeing that video. But while I was there, I got to meet Shasta from Abiding Farmhouse. She is a very dear friend that I have made through social media, through sharing on YouTube. And I was able to meet her while I was there, and she said something in the video about me being taller than what she thought. And a couple of people have asked about that since. They're like, how tall are you? And on video, it is hard to tell those kinds of things. I am somewhere around 5'9", and we're really just, I guess as a family, pretty tall. Justin, he's somewhere around 6'2", 6'3". And Audrey, she's already passed me. So pretty tall. And that, had me thinking about that, talking about these overalls and being able to get them to fit. Speaking of Shasta, she had asked if I had thought any more about investing in a freeze dryer. I've talked about that. I've talked to her about it here and there. Just trying to decide if that was an investment we wanted to make. We have a dehydrator that we've had, goodness, 20 years or better. Justin, he had it before we ever got married. I can remember making deer jerky on that thing when we were dating. And it's still going strong. Now, I do kind of wish I had, I wish I had a dehydrator that had trays. And then I've really been thinking about a freeze dryer. I've been researching a lot on them lately. And I love to dehydrate. I love to preserve that way. It's what I know. And so it's what I'm kind of comfortable with. But I know there are a lot of benefits to freeze drying. And so I've been looking into that. But it is an investment, a freeze dryer. My sister, she has a freeze dryer, and so we've used it some. She's let us use it, and so I'm still thinking about it. I'm kind of borrowing my sister's here and there, or using hers here and there in the meantime. as I, try to decide if that's something we want to invest in. But do a lot of dehydrating and preserve a lot of food that way. And I know the benefits of freeze drying, so it's definitely something that's on my list that I would like to have. When are we going to bring back Friday back porch chats? If you're new, you may not know about our Friday back porch chats, but for a long time, probably a year or more, every Friday we sat on the back porch together, very unedited videos, just sitting there hanging out for a little while. I remember growing up, I spent a pretty good bit of time at my mama and papa's. Both of my parents worked full time, and so I spent my summer days at mama and papa's. I would come home from school to mama and papa's, and I can remember they would have friends just stop by and they'd sit on the porch together, whether they were shucking corn or breaking beans or just sitting there talking for a while. And I've been known to say, wouldn't the world be a better place if we'd all just sit on the back porch and hang out for a little while, just chat with each other and fellowship with each other for a little while. And so that was my way of inviting you onto the back porch with me. And every Friday we'd sit down, like I said, very unedited, and just sit there and talk, whether it was, sometimes it would be more devotional like, sometimes it would be life updates. And I did not move away from those purposefully. A while back, I went from uploading 5 days a week. So I used to upload Monday through Friday for years. I uploaded Monday through Friday. And I took a step back from that a few months ago and started uploading 3 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And with that, I just had more vlog content that I was trying to put out there. And so a lot of times on Fridays, I would have an extra vlog from the week that I would share. And so I didn't move away from those back porch chats purposefully. It was just one of those things where I had the extra vlog content, so I shared it. But so many of y'all have asked about them. I've missed them, and so I'm definitely going to be incorporating those back in. And I feel like we're going to find ourselves sitting on the back porch together again a pretty good bit on Fridays. We're going to walk and talk because I need to go over here and shut this door. It kind of looks like it might rain, which would be good because we replanted some stuff in the garden. Some rain would be good for it. But while we're walking, another question, then we'll go back and sit down. But somebody asked, what is the culture like where we live, and what do I love most about it? Y'all, it's easy to take this for granted because it's all I've ever known. But I don't want to take it for granted because it's such a beautiful place to live. It's the kind of place where, for the most part, people still love other people and respect other people. People love their neighbor. They're there for their neighbor. It's the kind of place where everybody knows everybody. And sometimes people say that negatively, but I don't think it is. I think it's a beautiful thing because for the most part, I'm sure there are some people who are just nosy, but for the most part, people really care about what you got going on. They want to cheer you on. They want to be there for you in the good times, hurt with you in the bad times. So it's one of those, everybody knows everybody. You're going to run into somebody you know at the grocery store. Probably everybody. You run into the grocery store, you know. Same thing at the gas station, the cafe. And that's special. It's also the kind of place where there's a good chunk of people still embracing the way of living that generations before us embraced. The older way of doing things. To some extent. Some more than others. But there's still a lot of people growing gardens, preserving food, raising animals, and then, like I said, just loving each other, loving their neighbor. And I think what I love most about living here is that it's the kind of place I want to raise a family. I feel good about raising my kids here, and that's what I love most about it. All right, let's go sit back down. We'll keep talking. I just had to close that door. There were a few questions about what religion we are, what denomination. We are Christian, and we're members of a Baptist church, but less about religion, less about denomination, and more about believing in the saving power of Jesus Christ, believing that God sent Jesus and he died on a cross so that we could be saved from our sin. He was that sacrifice for us. Are you a stay-at-home mom, or do you work outside of the home? I am a stay-at-home mom. I do consider what I do here, sharing on social media, I consider that a job. It's a lot of work. It's something I'm blessed to be able to do. God has definitely blessed me through this. I've been able to replace the income that I was making working outside of the home with what I do here, sharing on social media. But I still consider myself a stay-at-home mom because I am at home. I guess I'm a work from home mom. I don't know. But I consider myself a stay-at-home mom because I am staying at home with my children. I have worked outside of the home in the past, though. I have worked at some different schools. I have been a teacher myself. I've worked in accounting at some schools. So I have worked outside of the home, but for the last few years, I've been a stay-at-home mom. Once I decided to homeschool my children, I came home, and that's also about the time that I started sharing on social media. How old are you and your husband? Y'all, I would have to do some math. I think I'm 35 and I think he's 37. I think. Every time I'm asked that, I have to do the math. I was right. I was right. I'm 35 and he is 37. Also got questions about how many kids do we have and what are their ages. So our oldest, Audrey, she's our only girl. She is 14. She'll be 15 soon. And then Easton is 12. Huddy is, well, his name is Hudson. We call him Huddy most of the time. He is 8. And then Wyatt is 3, just turned 3. And Fletcher is 1. I hear a tractor. I keep thinking it's going to come down the road and be loud. Y'all might not can even hear it. I don't even know if y'all can hear it, but I can hear it. I'm like, it's so loud. It's hot, man. It's all right. He's just, oh, they're cutting the side of the road. They're cutting the grass down the edge of the road. Is keeping chickens worth the cost of feed, etc.? Why or why not? My simple, straightforward answer is going to be yes. They're worth it. I love having chickens. I love seeing their different personalities. I love the responsibility that it gives my children. They enjoy taking care of them, and it teaches them that responsibility of having something to take care of. But it's also very rewarding because then they can go out and gather eggs, and it's a reward for taking care of these chickens, or they can carry them around and play with them, or they'll follow them through the yard, and it's a reward for caring for that animal. Definitely teaching our children animal husbandry. And we have chickens that we keep for eggs. We have chickens that are pets. We also have meat chickens, and so that's a whole nother level of responsibility and accountability and skills that they're learning. So for me, the good food that they provide and just the joy that we get from them and the responsibility that allows me to foster within my children makes it absolutely worth it. Now, I'm not going to say it's cheap, and I'm not going to say that, being able to go get free eggs from the coop is more economical than buying a carton of eggs at the store. However, the nutrition is not going to be matched. What you get at the store cannot match the nutrition from these farm fresh eggs. The meat from our chickens, you just can't match that in the store. It's not free. Those eggs from the coop are not free, but I would 100% over and over say that they are worth it. And you don't have to make it excessively expensive. Our main coop is made from a playhouse, like it's on a lot of playgrounds, the metal frame playhouses. And my stepdad took it. He had some leftover flooring. He put that on the outside of it. He had some tin that he put on the top. And it is an incredible coop. And it's made from things that we just had here. What is my favorite scripture in the Bible, and how do I apply that to everyday life? I've got it pulled up because I want to read it. Usually I just quote it, but I wanted to actually sit here and read it to you. It's 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 3 and 4. And I'm reading it from the New King James Version. Do not let your adornment be merely outward, arranging the hair, wearing gold, or putting on fine apparel. Rather, let it be the hidden person of the heart, with the incorruptible beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is very precious in the sight of God. Those verses have been my favorite since probably my early teenage years. And yeah, through the years, I feel like I've been able to grasp more and more from them. But it's just this beautiful reminder that, I don't think it's saying it's wrong to wear a gold ring or earrings or wear nice clothes or fix your hair. But what it is saying is to not let your adornment be merely outward. Don't count those things as true beauty, because true beauty comes from a gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious in the sight of God. And that's the kind of person I want to be. That's the kind of woman I want to be. That's how I want to treat people. That's the personality that I want to have. That's how I want to respond in tough situations, is maintaining that gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious in the sight of God. So those are my favorite verses. I carry them near and dear to me, hold them in my heart every day, because that's the kind of person I want to be. And I want to be reminded that that's the true beauty that God sees, is that gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious in his sight. Someone asked if all of my kids would be homeschooled this year. Audrey, she has always thrived. So Audrey and Easton have been in public school before, and both had very different experiences. And Audrey thrived in that kind of setting. And we do live in a place that I consider very blessed. There are some places where it would not even be a thought in my mind to have my children in public school. Now, I'm still pretty hesitant, don't get me wrong. But when I know that we've prayed over it and it's the direction that we're feeling led, Audrey is going to be attending public school this year, and the others will be homeschooled. And if anything ever changes one way or the other, we're always praying about this and seeking out what's best for our family and for our children. And if anything ever changes one way or the other, then we'll do what we feel led. But we will have some kids in public school and some kids at home this coming year. What is my favorite subject to teach? History. I love teaching history. Now, there could be a few reasons, I guess. It's so interesting to me, and I think there's so much that we can learn from history. It's so many interesting stories, but also so much that we can hold on to impact the future. I love teaching history. We're also a little more relaxed when it comes to history, so maybe that's one reason why I like it. We don't do history every single day, so maybe that relaxed feel. I've also been able to find some really great history curriculum over the years that have just really been my teaching style and the kids' learning style. So I'm sure it's a little bit of all of those things, but history is hands down my favorite. On average, people move every 5 years. Do you consider where you live your forever home? I have no plans of moving. I never want to say something is 100% concrete because I don't know what God has for us in the future. But I have no plans of moving right now, unless it's just something that God changes some things for us. I've also saw a question where someone was asking about kind of our homesteading plans in terms of a year from now or 2 years from now. One thing I love to do before I think about what are my plans a year from now, 2 years from now, is stop and think about how far we've come in the last 1 year and 2 years. Because sometimes I can get so caught up in, we haven't done this yet, and I want to do that, and this is still in the plans, and this hasn't happened yet. And while I love to plan and I love to think about those things, I also want to take a moment to just look around me and be like, this was completely raw land 2 years ago, and now there's meat chickens, and there's laying hens, and there's a greenhouse, and there's multiple garden spaces, and We have our bees and like our home. We made this home. So what a blessing that has been over the last 2 years, making it what it is now. And in the next couple of years, I would love to see more bees. I would love to see us raising more of our meat here. We raise, I would say, probably 90% of our own chicken. I still will occasionally get something from the store. And then pork and beef, we buy a lot of that from local farmers. I do still occasionally get some of that from the store, but I would like to at least get our pork needs, raise our own pork, and then continue to get beef from a local farmer. Probably, and for my brother-in-law, we get a lot of meat from him, but that is something that I would like to see. More bees, and being able to just slowly but surely add to this space. I have big plans, and I can be a big dreamer. We're gonna hopefully be adding goats. That's another thing. And sometimes I just have to slow myself down and say, yes, it's a beautiful thing to dream and to plan, but don't forget the beauty of what you've already created. The wind's blowing you around a little bit. What is my favorite thing to grow, and what has been the most challenging thing to grow? So over the last couple of years, I have found a love for growing potatoes. Well, one, we love to eat potatoes, but they've been pretty easy for us to grow with some, care and maintenance, especially up front, but then they've not been very time consuming, I guess, when it comes to maintaining them and growing them. Fertilizing them, amending the soil with them has been pretty easy, and we've gotten really, really good harvest. It's also really fun because they're root crops. You don't know what you're going to get till you start digging it up. But that's just one of the things that I love to grow. I also love tomatoes because they just scream summertime to me. Cucumbers have been difficult this year, and this is the first time I've ever had trouble growing cucumbers, but several of y'all have said the same thing, that this year has not been a good year for cucumbers. But it's another one of those things that just really screams summertime to me. Onions are something that I'm still trying to learn. I didn't really grow up seeing a lot of onions grown, and so it's something that I have really been trying to learn. And while we've had some success, I still don't feel like we've got it fine-tuned. But I'm going to keep learning, and onions will be one of those things that it's just going to be a learning process for me. Like I said, we've harvested onions. We've had decent success. I'm not going to say that we haven't, and I've learned a lot along the way. But it's one of those things that, and maybe it's because it's pretty new to me, I'm still just having to fine-tune it a little bit. Did you have to add amendments to your garden soil when you planted? Now, in the wintertime, we put some different things on our garden. When we clean out the coops, we put that on the garden in the winter. Sometimes we'll plant a cover crop. Sometimes we'll cover it with spent hay or pine straw, something like that. And then when we planted this year, I did use, I think the brand is called Down to Earth, but I used their vegetable fertilizer around the plants. And we also put gypsum around our tomatoes this year. I think that made a big difference. So we used those things when we were planting. Now we do have other garden spaces that, those that I mentioned here are more organic methods, and I'm trying to learn more of that. But we also have garden spaces that we don't grow organically. And even what we're doing here in this little garden, we couldn't technically label it organic, but I'm using it as an opportunity to learn more organic gardening methods. Is Justin a minister or a deacon? And I feel like it got really bright out here, and I've tried to adjust, so just bear with me. Justin is a deacon at our home church. He is also a preacher. He is not a pastor of a church right now, but he travels and visits churches, fills in for pastors, preaches revivals. He preaches pretty often, several times a month at different churches around the area. But he is not currently pastoring a church. He is a deacon at our home church. I meant to answer this when I was talking about school, but somebody asked if I'll start Wyatt with preschool this year. Now, he won't be going to preschool outside of the home, but I do think that we'll be doing some things at home. I mean, we're always learning, right? But Wyatt, and I know mamas can be this way, but he's so smart and he wants to learn. So we'll definitely be learning for sure. How formal of a curriculum we'll be using, I've not decided yet. We're getting to that point where we're about to start school back, and so I need to make up my mind. But yeah, I don't want to push it too early, but I feel like he would really thrive and he would really enjoy it. We will do BJU's preschool curriculum whenever I decide to start it, whether it'll be this year or whether we'll be doing something a little more relaxed this year and starting that next year. I've not decided 100%, but regardless, he'll be learning. And no, he won't be going to preschool outside of the home. We will be working on things at home. And I don't know, I guess stay tuned to see if we decide to go ahead and go the route of a formal curriculum or not. I've got some pretty fun questions here, and I know I'm like overthinking it. Like one of them is, you're granted 3 wishes. What are they? You can't ask for more wishes. And I should be able to just pop off some fun things, right? But I'm over here like, what would I really ask for? Like if I could ask for anything, any 3 wishes, what would it be? I'm going to try to keep it a little lighthearted though and not overthink it. So let's see. One, maybe an unlimited supply of chicken feed that I didn't have to buy. That would be pretty cool, right? Mark that expense off the list. Just an unlimited supply of, we'll just say animal feed. So any animals I ever had, I would just have an unlimited supply of animal feed. Part of that is right around me though, right? Here I am overthinking it again. God has blessed us with so much for those animals to eat. 2, how about a house that cleans itself? I could spend all day out in the garden and with the animals and then come in and the house just be clean. Just clean itself. That'd be pretty neat, right? And then 3rd wish. I don't like to mess with nature as God intended it, but we could do without some mosquitoes, right? That sure would be nice. Let's just get rid of mosquitoes while we're at it. Let's get rid of the mosquitoes. And if I was going to be on a reality TV show, what do I think I'd be best fit for? I don't know. Y'all tell me. What reality TV show would I be best fit for? I've always thought Chopped is pretty fun. I like to cook, and sometimes we'll even do that here. Well, the kids will be like, let's just come up with some ingredients and see what we can make. So that'd be pretty fun. But y'all tell me, what reality show would I be best suited for? All right, y'all. That's going to be it for this one. If I skipped a question, it wasn't on purpose. Be sure to ask me down in the comments. I'll do my best to answer it for you. I love you. I appreciate you, and I mean it with all my heart. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.